Sunshine, yeah, moonlight, good times again.
Welcome to the Blame It on the Boogie podcast.
Wow.
We just three brothers, all from East Saint, here to talk to you a little about a little thing we call sports. This is episode season 2, number 9, 29. That's where we are right now. We thank you each and every one of you for joining in each and every week to listen to us talk about something that we love. Bless you there, D.
Thank you.
And just to watch us as we get together and just BS about sports. We love sports. That's what we do. And hopefully y'all do too. Today, of course, as always,
you love listening to us talk about sports.
Yeah, that's true.
We take that.
Today,
that's so much clear.
We got with me at the top right, Antoine D-O-O-Z-E Williams from Northern Missouri.
Back at it like a crack at it.
Dorian D Almighty the Wonder Mouse Brown from Richmond, California. And of course, you got me, Rod D, right here from the Detroit, Michigan. As always, again, thank you. For those of you the first time, press that like button, press that subscribe button, press that follow button, and of course, send dudes the money. Y'all ain't been sending dudes the money. What's going on?
No,
send dudes the money.
I'm starting to look a little broke.
Last week we had with us one of our good friends, Tariq Adams. Shout out to him.
Shout out. What up, Coach?
Coach gave us some great insight. We're going to continue to add more people to the show to bring some different flavors to y'all. Because I know y'all get tired of hearing D and his wrong takes. He always wrong.
We can always check the recording and find out who has been more wrong this whole entire
time.
Man,
if we take a score, you gonna win that one, bro.
We can do that.
If we take a score, you gonna win.
I know.
Wrong or the wrong is.
Which is why we like sports, because we take score. It's the point.
So if you're looking for us, you can find us at From the Boogie on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and also Instagram. You can also find us anywhere where you get your podcast. That will be Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. I don't care where it is. Wherever you find your podcast, that's where we at. Look for From the Boogie Podcast. Blame it on the Boogie Podcast. My bad. Blame it on the Boogie Podcast.
Blame it on the Boogie.
We also have a website, BRAWLS.podcast.com. You can find all of our shows on there also. And you can also find spots where you can send dudes that money. And if you want to get in touch with us, go to our ever popular email address, boogieblaming@gmail.com.
Hey, popular my phone number too. With who? Our phone number is 777-993.
So, fellas, let's get right on into this because we got a whole lot of things to do.
Before we get into that,
go ahead, D.
Mr. Hypocrisy. I'm gonna need you to proofread stuff. It should say 3 brothers. You got 3 brother.
Where you at?
on the intro. Can we get an S?
I think what he meant was
don't worry about things like that.
3 is plural. Come on, man.
What he meant was like we brothers, but we like one.
We like one.
Oh no. He talked like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. No, no, we brothers. It's an S. Can we get an S, please, Mr. Hypocrisy? Thank you.
You know what, bro? I didn't even notice that.
Obviously, you didn't know
forever.
You just noticed it.
You just noticed it.
So can we chalk that? That's another one in the wrong column for Rodney.
You ain't keeping score.
Yes, I'm keeping score.
Yeah,
that's another one.
We are not keeping score.
That's another one.
We don't count that. Man, shut up. let's get to our topics of discussion before I had to hurt you. Last week we didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot about football, so this week we're gonna start off with some football. We're gonna talk about some NFL trades and free agency since we last met. One of the biggest free agents that's out there, Saquon Barkley, signed with probably the worst team he could possibly sign for, and that would be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh yeah, worse instead of Cowboys in the
He
NFC.
should have gone to Dallas, but I understand, man. You know, when they offer you that kind of money, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm jealous. I have to admit, because apparently all in and Jerry Jones doesn't mean the same thing as it means to me. But hey, I'm not gonna fuss about that.
What Jerry meant is he already put all he had in, and he don't have enough. He ain't got nothing else to give.
he got Dak got all
right. It's all in Dak's bank account.
That is so true. So true.
That's what he meant.
But you had a lot of NFL free agents that changed team. Let me give y'all some examples. There's a lot more than just Saquon. You had, come on, man. Come on, computer. Why you tripping? Why you treat me so bad? The big one, I'm messing around. But you had Mitch Trubisky going back to the Buffalo Bills, who he was with before he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He went back there on a 2-year deal, really only 1 year guaranteed. But the Bills also signed Deion Dawkins to a big 3-year, $60 million contract extension. The Miami Dolphins, they got Rasheed Mostert, which is pretty good, 2-year deal, $9 million. They also got Shaq Barrett, which was a big deal.
He was already there last year.
Who?
Raheem Mostert. So he re-signed.
They re-signed him. They re-signed him.
Okay.
But they did get Shaq Barrett. That was edge rusher for a 1-year deal, $9 million. So the one thing I did see a lot.
And don't forget about we didn't talk about Russ. Did we? Russ to the Steelers and Justin Fields, even though I really prefer not to talk about the Steelers, it's still a big deal.
We're gonna get the rest.
Well, you had named all of these free agents, and then you stopped.
I'm going down the list here. But since you want to be all quick and things,
okay, no, go ahead.
No.
Take your time.
You want to be quick. Let's talk about Russ going to Pittsburgh and how great Pittsburgh's going to be in that division.
We really don't have to. I was just saying that it was still a big deal.
Russell Wilson, who was released by the Denver Broncos in an incredibly crazy move, because they owe him $85 million guaranteed. So at the end of the day, they got to pay him.
Still got to pay the man.
They got to pay the brother. I'm sorry, misspoke. They owe him $39 million guaranteed, but he has an $85 million cap hit. So they took an $85 million cap hit. They spread it out between this year and next year to just tell Russ to go away. Stupid, but hey, we gonna see how it works out. It wasn't a good deal for me, but I mean, a good plan to me. But hey, that's why I'm not getting paid to be a head coach in the league. But Russ did find on the second day of free agency, Russ did find a new home, and that's in Dee'S' favorite city, Pittsburgh.
Shitsburg.
So in Pittsburgh, he's going to be getting paid. The league minimum was like $1.3 million. But he's still getting the other 37.7
right
from the Broncos. So it's Russ still getting his money. He getting paid. But since we're talking about free agency and trades, Pittsburgh also made another great move that Dorian just so absolutely loves, and that's trading for one Justin Fields, who a few weeks back when we talked about this, I kept telling them that they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him. They're trade him. They never, no, these other panelists didn't agree, but they did trade him. Chicago traded.
No. We did not disagree about.
Yes, you did.
That trade. We disagree. We said we've always said we thought he was good, and Chicago shouldn't trade him. Not that he wasn't gonna get traded, but that they shouldn't trade him. You were the only one crying about how horrible Justin Fields was. We were saying that he was good and they should keep him. So anyway, so stop lying.
So the other 31 teams, the other 31 teams agreed with me in that Justin Fields is not that good of a quarterback, or it wasn't a great situation because Justin Fields went for a 6th-round draft pick. They traded him to Pittsburgh for a 6th-round draft pick. Now, just to be fair, the GM of Chicago did say that he wanted to do right by Justin, and doing right by Justin just meant not allowing him to be there because they were moving on to the next quarterback. So when other teams weren't jumping out out their seat to give him 1st, 2nd-round draft picks, he just went with a team that Justin can actually excel with, and just got whatever they offered. And that's with Pittsburgh. He has a real good even with Russell Wilson there, he still has a real good chance of actually being a starting quarterback. Because Russ, even though he wasn't that bad last year, Russ is getting up there. Justin is did he even turn 25 yet?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so Justin, he has experience, so there's a chance that he can actually get that starting job. And the Pittsburgh coach even said that it's a competition. Right now, he said the way he put it, Russ is in the pole position, but that the training camp hadn't started yet. There's always a chance. He believes in competition. So Justin may actually still supplant Russell Wilson and be that starting quarterback. And again, to be fair, he had a very bad situation in Chicago. He just had a very bad situation in Chicago. He may not be as bad as I will have y'all to believe. He may not be that bad. However, the coaching that he received and the support that he received from the team just wasn't there. Is he a great quarterback? No. Would I have liked him to be in the Cowboys for a 6th-round draft pick? Yeah.
Especially since y'all just got rid of what's his name and sent him. No, but that wouldn't make sense. Y'all just picked up what's his name.
We got Trey Lance, but that was a stupid move.
That
was a stupid move on Jerry's part, also. So that's Pittsburgh. You had the winners. The winners in the free agency, according to most people, are the Jets, who got a backup quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. They got a starting receiver in Mike Williams. They got 3 offensive linemen. One being Tyron Smith from the Cowboys, which kind of hurts me, but okay. They acquired Hassan Reddick in a trade with the Eagles, who's going to be a great edge rusher for him. So in offseason, the Jets have done pretty well. Baltimore picked up Derrick Henry, who in Baltimore's system is going to be great. And they gave him a 2-year contract for $16 million with $9 million guaranteed. So that was, not too far out there being crazy. Now, these people, the Bengals, they've been taking a lot of hits. But they still have T. Higgins, although it's just under a franchise tag. Now, D, you think T gonna be there next year?
Well, unless he does,
because he's requesting a trade. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to play on the franchise tag.
Because we can franchise him again.
You can.
Right. So he ain't going nowhere. Because I don't know who else. I don't know who else. Not to say who else would want him, but because that's not true at all. But I can't think of anyone else that the Bengals. I mean, aside from Jamar Chase, because we just got, who was that? Zach Moss, at running back, which I think was a move to prepare to pay Jamar Chase, because we ain't got to pay your boy anymore. Although I loved him as a running back. So I mean, I'm franchising. If I can't think of I can't think of anyone else. So I'm franchising you again. You ain't going nowhere. I mean, unless you're gonna come out here and tank, which ain't gonna help you trying to go to a new team. It's just like, chill out, and we're gonna pay you. We already proven that we will pay you by franchising you. So I still, and again, this goes back to conversations we had earlier. I still don't understand why these cats poo-poo the franchise tag. It's like, dude, you're again, I understand the idea of wanting long-term deals. But for the 2 years or whatever that you're under the franchise tag, you're basically going to get the same amount guaranteed that I would give you in a long-term deal. I'm gonna give you 3 years, $40 million, $25 million guaranteed. Well, guess what? If you play on the franchise tag for 2 years, you getting $25 million guaranteed.
Well, so here's the thing. The numbers are a little off.
I'm just
throwing out numbers.
Right.
Well, his franchise tag is for $20 million this year. If they franchise him again next year, he gets 120%, or is it 120, 125? 120% of that franchise tag. So he's looking at what, $45 million guaranteed for 2 years, roughly, right? If you go the franchise route.
Right.
If I give you a guaranteed contract, I might give you $40 million guaranteed, a $90 million 5-year contract with $40 million guaranteed. So
right.
I'm with you.
Which is the same.
I'm with you.
And which is the same thing. Instead of getting it in 5 years, you getting it in 2.
Well,
because really,
after 3, he'll never get that. He'll never get that $90 million.
Never get the $90 million.
He's not gonna get $90 million.
After 3 years, you gonna be mad anyway. Again, wanting to renegotiate. And so I'm gonna cut you now. After 3 years, I'm gonna cut you, and you ain't gonna get nothing but the $40 million anyway. It's like, I
think they feel like it's security, the long-term deal, but it's the same amount of money, like you said. So I mean,
it's the same exact amount of money. It again, I understand. This to me is this fictional idea of long-term security. It's never long.
It's only in the NFL though. Only in the NFL.
Right. Yeah. No. Right. Baseball, basketball. We know that's guaranteed. But think about it. It's a false sense of security. Look what just happened to Russell Wilson. We all said to ourselves, man, they done gave Russell Wilson all that money. They ain't getting rid of Russell Wilson. Man, they got rid of Russell. rid of Russell Wilson quick as hell. And was willing to take an $85 million cap hit. That's crazy. But it goes to show you that there is no long-term security. Even when you get a long-term deal, there is no long-term security in that. So, man, take the money. Come play. Come ball. You know we got a good team. It'd be different. It'd be different if this was one of the bottom dwellers. I get you. Then you request a trade. Then, but you're not. You're on a team, dude. You've been to the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, if you would have caught the ball, we would have got a first down and we would have won the Super Bowl. So you better take this $40 million. Take this $40 million as a gift.
Shut up. But no, what is it? So here's the thing, D. The problem is
got that first down. It was wide open.
Temperature has just turned up.
the problem that players that receive a franchise tag, they want to basically take their foot off the gas, because now in order for me to get that second franchise tag, I still got to ball this year.
Right.
Before, if I balled last year, I can get my money now, and then I'm good. I ain't got to worry about nothing. And that's what happens. They think, okay, cool, I'm good. I ain't got to worry about nothing. But now the team is saying, well, no, you need to perform this year also for me to give you that money next year also. So again,
keeping their feet to the fire.
Exactly. So, but that's not what they want. And it's like, well, you didn't do that for such and such. Why I got to do it? You know. So that's like one of the big issues that these players have with the franchise tag. But if they look at Kirk Cousins, who signed with Atlanta this year for another $100 million, if they look at Kirk Cousins, is the king of the franchise tag. He played on the franchise tag for 2 years with Washington and made all that guaranteed money. Then because the Washington just couldn't afford to pay him at that particular time, because if they franchise him a third time, which I don't think they can. I don't think you can franchise him a third time, but they had to give him this huge contract, because it wasn't like he's going to play for less than he played for in the first place. But then Minnesota came in, and Minnesota said, hey, you know what? We're going to do something nobody has ever done. We're going to guarantee your whole contract. So we got the whole guaranteed contract with Minnesota the first time.
Right.
Then it was time to renegotiate. Time for them to bring his cap number down. So they had to give him another contract extension. Guess what? That was fully guaranteed also. And then the third time, they said, okay, just come back for one more year at this super high number. He did that. And then, even though he got hurt, he was the biggest free agent out there this year and got a 3-year, $100 million contract. Again, Kirk Cousins made over $500 million from the NFL and ain't won a playoff game yet. Not one.
Everybody talk about how horrible he is and how you don't want him as your starting quarterback. They talk about how he can't play under the bright lights. But guess what? He done made, like you said, $500 million.
And just smiling.
Just smiling and basically betting on himself, saying, "Hey, I don't care what y'all say, I'm pretty good."
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You have players. Dak did it. Dak bet on himself, and now that's why the Cowboys are in the position they're in right now, because he's like he didn't want. He signed a franchise tag. Cowboys didn't want to franchise him the second time, so they had to extend him if they wanted to keep him. So he had all the leverage and say, you know what? I want $160 million with $130 million guaranteed, and y'all ain't got no choice but to pay me. And that's what happens when you bet on yourself. But again, they don't want to do that because of the idea, like you said, the idea of guaranteed money sounds great. And of course, your agent gonna tell you that, hey man, go get that money right now. We need that money. We don't want a franchise tag because the agent's not gonna make as much money, right? They're gonna get their commission on that $180 million contract you sold. So that you signed rather. So again,
and they don't make a commission off your guaranteed money.
No, they get off the money you make. So they want these players need to look at this, man. It's not a bad deal to be franchised, especially now. I can understand if you've been in the league for 6-7 years or whatever, and then they want to after your second contract they want to franchise you. Okay, I do want that longer security, but whatever. But this you're gonna sign with them anyway. The end of your rookie contract. You're gonna sign with them anyway. So just go ahead and take that money, man. Take that money, roll with it. But if they do decide to get rid of them, they will be able to recoup some kind of draft compensation. I don't know if I'm giving a first round pick for him, because as another team, if it wasn't for the contract, if all I had to do was give you a first round draft pick, yeah, T. Higgins is definitely worth the first round draft pick. No questions. He's better than any. Well, I ain't gonna say better than any receiver, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is a beast. He's better than most receivers coming out this year. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I had to give you a first round pick and pay him, $25 million a year, that's a little bit of a hindrance. That's why they may get like a second or third pick if somebody decides to trade for him. But as he's finding out right now, there's not a lot of teams out there willing to give up that much money for a receiver. I'd rather, to me, y'all know how I play my Madden and my 2K. When it's time for you to get a new contract, I'm trading you. So that's just the way I play my game. When it's time for that contract, I gotta trade you because and I keep the best of the best. But everybody else, those friends players, if you're not Jamar Chase, right? And Jamar Chase is probably top 5 receiver in the league right now, if not top 3, when healthy. If you're not Jamar Chase, even though T. Higgins is good, I'm not paying you that much money because I can get a lower substitute and then use that money to get somebody else. Y'all lost some defensive players. You know, do you want to put that much money into your wide receiver position when you really need to add some more on your defensive line?
Right, especially with what's happening in the NFC. I'm sorry, the AFC North anyway.
Yeah.
The AFC North is probably the strongest division in football.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know the Chiefs are in the West, but look at the rest of the West.
Yeah.
The AFC East is, you know, the AFC East is always a pretty tough division, but you know, I'm talking about the NFC East. The AFC East has always really just been the Patriots. Now it's the Dolphins. There's really nobody here. Well, I mean, the Jets are trying to come up, but you know, we'll see. You got Buffalo, but the entire division, this is probably their entire division is not really strong. I can't think of another division out there where every team can potentially go to the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Especially since Pittsburgh got a quarterback,
right? But you now have that in the AFC North. If you think about it, you've got you know, the Bengals last year. If Burrow doesn't get hurt
during the playoffs,
right? If Burrow doesn't get hurt, then you never know what's. But think about that. You got Cleveland who made the playoffs, the Ravens who made the playoffs, and the Bengals and the Bengals and Pittsburgh that almost made the playoffs.
No, Pittsburgh made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh did make the playoffs. You're right. And so, as much as I hate Pittsburgh,
I'm gonna need you to stop disparaging Pittsburgh, man.
Why? You a Cowboys fan?
That's right. I hate them too.
So, but as much as I hate them, and I really hate them, I don't think there's another team. Well, yeah, Michigan. Sorry, I hate Michigan more than I hate the Steelers. And I really
hate Cowboys. You don't hate.
I really hate. I don't hate the Cowboys. I just like messing with Rodney. But as much as I hate the Steelers, man, getting Russell Wilson and then getting Justin Fields were 2 great moves. As much as I hate the Steelers, I have that much respect for Mike Tomlin. And he is, you know, everything that I've heard is he is really the players coach and players want to play for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he is the kind of personality that, you know, for whatever it was that was going on in Denver, Mike Tomlin doesn't have that kind of personality with Sean Payton. You ain't gonna see, you know, Mike Tomlin yelling at Russell Wilson on the sidelines, cussing him out on the sidelines, or whatever that is. That's not how Tomlin rolls.
And it wasn't even Russell Wilson's fault. That was the defense fault. But go ahead.
And then at the same time, I really think that that Justin Fields is. I'm sorry, Tomlin is the right coach for Justin Fields. I think he'll bring the best out of Justin Fields because I think Justin Fields is talented. I always have thought Justin Fields was talented, and that he got a bad rap from people like Rodney. And I think that the way it works too with Pittsburgh is that if for whatever reason you got a Super Bowl winning quarterback, who is at the end of his career, who with the team that you have that made the playoffs, you could probably go further in the playoffs if you had Russell Wilson last year, because he's still a good quarterback, you know, that kind of thing. And at the same time,
Justin Fields.
And
they would have further with Justin Fields over.
And at the same time, you give Justin Fields the chance to learn under somebody like Russell Wilson, to compete and learn from to compete against and learn from Russell Wilson, which is only going to make Justin Fields better. So unfortunately, this trade has made Pittsburgh so much better. But at the same time, the Derrick Henry trade to the Ravens made them so much better. I mean, think about the fact that these dudes had all three of their running backs have knee injuries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was that this year or was that
last year? That was last year.
Right. And so and they still ended up being one of the top rushing teams in the league. So now you got Derrick Henry, man. Everybody in the league in the AFC North better go get some linebackers to be able to bring that dude down. You better don't get nickelbacks trying to hit Derrick Henry. So
well, your boys Pittsburgh did that because they went out and got Patrick Queen from
yeah, man.
So is it McQueen or Queen?
I think it's Queen. It's just Patrick Queen.
Yeah, it's Patrick Queen.
Man. So anyway, so come on. So all I can say is who they. You know, I'm always down for my Bengals, but the AFC North is looking real formidable this year.
They are.
Anyway,
so in the other winners, your trade of Joe Mixon to Houston, Texas, man. Houston, they made the playoffs last year. They may be well. They are going to be better this year because that was the issue with Houston last year. They didn't really have a running game. Mm-hmm. They had great quarterback play, but the running game sucked. But now they got Mixon. They have they signed an edge rusher, Daniel Hunter from Minnesota. So they come into play, man. They come into play.
And the AFC South.
Sucks. Yeah, Jacksonville,
Indianapolis, and Tennessee.
Now Tennessee is making some moves, but they got that second-year quarterback.
They better hope Will Levis.
Who really didn't have a whole lot of weapons. It was get a ball to Derrick Henry. The receiving core for the Texans, the Titans, was atrocious. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. In the next topic, that's what they're going to do in the NFL draft. So in the NFL draft, the funny thing is, and I love draft season. I really love draft season. Every day is something different. And it's because of these different pro days. Pro days are so funny to me. Pro days are scripted workouts. That's all they are. Scripted workouts designed to make each player look great. Right? I'm not going to ask you to do nothing that I know you can't do. Right? But after all these pro days, all the so-called pundits come back on and tell you how this person or that person just had a great workout and they're going to be the next great thing. And that's what's happening now. You have the projected first 4 picks in the NFL draft so far, and that's, you know, and these again are pundits. They're picks. They're about as right as we are with our picks. But they got Williams going first to Chicago. Jaden Daniels going second to Washington. Then they have what's the quarterback?
Drake May.
Wow. Drake May going third to New England. And then the draft really starts at Arizona at 4, where they could do a whole bunch of stuff. They can trade, they can draft the best receiver. And then there's the other question, who's the best receiver? But these pro days have been crazy. On the quarterback thing, you have JJ McCarthy, who is with Dee's favorite team, the coming from the Michigan Wolverines. JJ McCartney, who could probably be a good quarterback, but he really didn't.
Ain't it McCarthy? He ain't no kid to Paul McCartney. You talking about JJ?
McCarthy, didn't I?
No, you didn't. You said McCartney. JJ McCartney.
McCarthy could actually be a good quarterback. But now all the buzz is, he's going top 5. If I'm a team in need of a quarterback and I got a top 5 pick and the top 3 are gone, I'm not reaching for JJ McCarthy. I'm just not, because well, first off, yeah, his college record as far as wins and losses was great, but he really didn't do a whole lot to win the games for the teams. Case in point, Penn State, they were hitting the ball like 50 times in a row, and that's just because Penn State couldn't stop him. He wasn't called upon to win games. Williams called upon to win games. Daniels called upon to win games. May called upon to win games, even though he didn't win a whole lot of games.
Even though he didn't win.
McCarthy wasn't.
He was called upon.
Right, he was called upon. He didn't answer though.
He didn't answer that call, which is
He was on the other line.
Whole different conversation about him. I'm not a big Drake May fan, and again, it goes back to the pro day. Oh, look at him. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He can throw the ball 70 yards off the left foot. I'm like, well, how many times are you actually going to throw the ball 70 yards off his left foot? Right? That's okay, cool. You can do that. But
it's the same thing. This is the same stuff that they talked about Zach Wilson. Oh, he can throw it 80 yards he can throw it 80 yards from his knees. Yeah, but he can't throw a 10-yard out to save his life.
Exactly. No, he can throw it. He was just throwing it to the wrong team.
Or out of bounds.
Or out of bounds, or over somebody's head. So again, these pro days are funny, man.
Well,
the receivers.
What I always find interesting is that all of the pundits always talk about how the pro days, all the analysts who are former players, I'll put it that way, all talk about how these pro days mean absolutely nothing. They all tell you that. But then we got to watch it on television and have y'all analyze it and tell us about it. Even though y'all are all saying that it means absolutely nothing, yet y'all televising it and you on here talking about it.
Louis Riddick, one of my favorite
love Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick is the best.
Love Louis Riddick. But all week, that's all he did. He went from city to city, televising pro days.
Right,
and then telling
about pro days.
Yeah. Telling you how great of a workout they had. Which, I mean, again, it's a workout. Look at the tape. When you look at the tape, Williams is by far, in my opinion, the best quarterback out there. Jaden Daniels is great. It just depends on which pick I have. If I have first pick, I'm going Williams. If I have second pick, I'm definitely going Daniels. Drake May, when you look at the tape, and it's the thing, they keep talking about, well, he can learn accuracy. I've never heard of a quarterback learn how to be more accurate once they got into the pros. It doesn't work. If you're not an accurate quarterback now, that means accuracy comes from your mental state, right? Okay, I need to throw this ball at this particular spot. If you're just out there slinging it like Drake May does, he's a gunslinger. He's more Brett Favre than they want to compare him to
Brett Favre.
Bill's quarterback.
Brett Favre.
What's Bill's quarterback? Josh Allen. They want to compare him to Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I mean, he improved from the high 50s to the low 60s. That's all he did. He's never going to be the great accurate quarterback. But Josh Allen does a whole lot of other stuff.
I'll tell you something that I found very compelling about listening to the draft analysts.
What's that?
And then how now all of the attributes of the black quarterback are what they are now looking for
in the white quarterback.
In the quarterback position, period. Not necessarily in the white quarterbacks, but all of those things. And I'm gonna go way back. All of those things that they hated about Randall Cunningham are now the exact things that they are looking for in a quarterback. All of the things that they hated about Steve Young, all of the things that they hated, and I use Randall because Randall was really kind of the prototype before. Mm-hmm. All the things that they hated about Randall Cunningham, the things they hated about Donovan McNabb, the things they hated about Steve Young, the things they hated about Dante Culpepper, the things they hated about Michael Vick, the things they hated about Steve McNair, how they never stayed in the pocket, how they ran, how they would never win games like this. That is exactly what they are looking for in quarterbacks. They sat up and talked to when they talked about Drake May, you know, when Dan Orlovsky, who I like Dan Orlovsky actually, but was a horrible NFL quarterback. Horrible. He could do none of these things that he says these other people should be able to do, could he do? And running was one of them. But they all sat up and talk about how of all these things that Drake May could do, he can run it. When we need him to do such and such, that's it. Before, that is not what they wanted. They wanted somebody to stay in the pocket, to look down the gun barrel as they talking and take the hit. Now, that's all they talk about is he can do it with his legs. And I hate that cliche too. I'm tired of hearing folks talk about what
exactly. And back in the day, they act like that was a strike against the quarterbacks.
Right.
They were versatile and able to run and also throw as well.
Man, they hated that. And that's why I had to bring up Randall Cunningham, because he does exactly what it is that they want quarterbacks to do now. They are calling running plays for quarterbacks now. So I just find that interesting that now all of a sudden all of the attributes of the black quarterback, that's what they want. And if you start thinking about these top quarterbacks that's coming out, they black. All these quarterbacks now are black quarterbacks, you know, that are coming out that at the top of the class that they want. You know, CJ Stroud is probably the only kind of sort of throwback or whatever. But CJ Stroud is also a smart quarterback. So he knows when to run, and you know that they're probably not going to call any running plays for CJ Stroud, but he knows when to run and when not to run, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway,
it's funny that you say CJ Stroud is a smart quarterback, because that was the biggest knock against CJ Stroud last year, because he didn't do as well as they would like on whatever that test was that they gave him.
What do they call it?
It's not the Wonderlic anymore. It's some other stupid test.
Oh, I thought it was I thought they still gave the Wonderlic test.
It's a different test that they get. You know what?
Okay.
Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure. Is it the Wonderlic test? Okay, I ain't gonna find it. Anyway, but that was the thing. That was a knock against CJ Stroud last year, that, you know, he wasn't smart. He couldn't process. Right? He didn't process as well because of this test. And then, you know, he go out there and he show you, I'm a football player that graduated from Ohio State University, right?
Did he graduate?
And then goes, well, he finished.
Well, no. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that derogatorily. So I'm sorry, CJ. That's not what I meant. I just didn't know if he stayed long enough to graduate. I don't know if he stayed till his senior year.
4 years. So
okay, that was why I asked the question. Not like, oh, did he graduate? But you know, I didn't know if he had stayed long enough to graduate. But anyway, go ahead.
It doesn't say. But anyway, whatever the case, whether he graduated or not, he attended Ohio State University,
right? Which,
you know, in order to stay eligible, you know, he had to go to the classes and he had to get the grades. So I'm not going to talk about that. But my problem is, you know, for you to, I don't like them. I don't like when they use that as a metric to determine whether or not a person can play a sport. When you look at the tape, when you look at the tape, you can see whether or not this person can play the sport in whatever sport, whether you're talking basketball, football, hockey, whatever. When you look at the tape, when you see them going against other competition, you should be able to know whether or not that player can play.
Well, and then also
workout.
Also, the issue with things like the Wonderlic test or whatever. Again, I've never taken it, but it's the idea of you're trying to say that one type of intelligence directly translates or directly correlates to another type of intelligence. It's the same reason why some cats that are really good at football can't play basketball. Or why basketball players, they might be really good at basketball but can't hit a baseball. Or can't understand the game or whatever. Can't think other games. It's because some people, they're just smart at that. That's the one thing that they're smart at. They're really good at that. They understand that thing, whatever it is. As intelligent as I may think I am or whatever, I am not good with my hands. That is not the type of intelligence that I have at all. Don't you ask me to build nothing. I can draw you the plans
at all.
I can draw you the plans and I can calculate it all day. But if you ask me to build it, shit's gonna be crooked. Right? So that's just how it is. And so I hate like you said, I hate when people do that. When they try to say that somebody just because, and even when it comes to grades, just because somebody's not necessarily smart at calculus doesn't mean that they can't play football. Just because somebody can't do algebra doesn't mean that they're not a good baseball player or a good basketball player. Though oftentimes those type of intelligences, if that's the right word I'm looking for, that kind of proclivity doesn't.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought up algebra.
Right.
All right. So it's called the S2 cognition test. That's what replaced the Wonderlic. Okay. It replaced the Wonderlic. And CJ Stroud scored an 18 out of a possible 100 last year. And they were talking about, basically he's not intelligent.
Test anxiety.
Right?
You never know.
But as as CJ said, listen, I'm just not a good standardized test taker. He said that's not what I excel at. He said I excel at football, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because that's his chosen profession. Now, if it's different, if I want an attorney that's supposed to know the law and he scores a 18 out of 100
on the bar exam, that's the issue. Maybe you need to play quarterback and not be my lawyer.
You ever thought about playing
quarterback than he is a lawyer?
Right. Have you tried football? Because this law thing isn't working out for you.
It ain't gonna work out for you, bro. It ain't gonna work out for you. But again, that's sports right now, and this is that particular time. Now, what we're gonna get to in the next couple of weeks is the draft is in a month. Less than a month now. Here in Detroit, by the way. What we're gonna get to in the next few weeks is the lying season, and that's where teams come out and they put out all this wrong misinformation about players in hopes that they're gonna drop so they can pick them up, right? One of the things just happened. Combined pro days and alliance season is with Marvin Harrison Jr. So when Marvin Harrison Jr. went to the combine in February, he didn't work out. He didn't do any of the drills. He didn't do anything. He did do the interviews, though. And in the interviews, he asked all the teams that interviewed him, what is it that you need to see from me that you haven't already seen? And to a team, each one of them said nothing. We got all the information we need. We don't need to see nothing else from you. So with that information, why would I work out? Why would I put myself out there? Even though, again, we just said that these are scripted workouts. But what if he go out there and in the middle of the drill, he failed or dropped some passes or, God forbid, got hurt? What benefit does that do for him? It does nothing. At this time, it's you need to wrap him up in bubble wrap and preserve him. Make sure he does not get hurt prior to the draft. That's all you need to do. But now you got, you know, all these teams. Oh well, you know, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. He didn't want to work out. That's a red flag. I gave you all my medical history. I've even did physicals with you, but they want to put that out there because now maybe at Arizona at 4, if I'm the Chargers, they'll put this out there. Arizona at 4 won't draft him. They'll draft another receiver, and now he slides to me. So now I'm happy. So that's what happens now. That's the season we're in now. We'll give you all this information, all this bad info, and so that the player that I really want will drop to me. And you had with Marvin Sapp. Wow. Warren Sapp. Never would have made it, Warren Sapp. You never would have made it to the Bucks had the information about you failing the drug test not been put out there prior to your draft. He never would have made it to the Bucks, man. He'd have been a top 5 pick. But because they put this information out there, he dropped like a rock. You got the same thing with players.
Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil. He didn't even get drafted.
And he turned into an all-pro.
He didn't even get drafted. Because what was it? Was it they didn't have a picture of weed or something?
They had tape of him smoking a bong out of a gas mask.
Mm-hmm. And so he didn't even get drafted. It turned out, you know, to be
he's an all-pro.
Free agent, all-pro.
All-pro. Like literally all-pro. One of the best linemen in the league.
Uh-huh. So that's the season we're in right now. One more NFL topic, which we'll talk about, are these new rules that they've instituted for the upcoming season. One being what do they call it when they the drop roll?
The hip drop.
The hip drop. That's what it's called.
Tackle.
The hip drop tackle. So, and to a man, every defensive player that's ever played this football is like, what the hell? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to tackle?
How do you
grab you from the back and pull you down?
How
Maybe
do you
trying to change it.
Derrick Henry? If I can't grab you and drop my weight to bring you down, you just gonna drag me around the field like one of the football plows. You know how they get in there and they run with the weights behind them. That's exactly what it's gonna look like. Cat's just gonna be running behind Derrick Henry like click capes, holding on to the back. He is gonna be running everybody clean over. That I remember if you watch football drills, if you've ever had a chance to watch them, and you watch linemen and you watch linebackers, one of the drills that they do is when they hit the ground and they roll. Mm-hmm. Because that's how you tackle.
That's how you tackle.
That's how you teach somebody how to tackle. Is you grab, drop, and roll in order to be able to get them down. There is no way, bro.
Pull them off their feet,
man, bro. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If I'm a defensive back and I see Derrick Henry ass running through the hole, I'm making a life-changing decision right then about how I'm going to approach this tackle. That's life-changing. That's not even a business decision. You got to hit this dude straight up. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? I'm straight reach. If I can't grab a ankle and do a shoestring tackle, there's no way.
You can't tackle him below the knees, and you can't hit him above the chest.
You got this one little section.
Too much thinking involved.
There's no way. There's no way, bro.
You don't have time to. First of all, everybody's so fast. You don't have time to think like that,
man.
And then, like you said, they're trying to turn it into the football, the NFL All-Star game now. I guess the Pro Bowl.
Man, there's no way
I'm tackling there.
As the defensive player said, when do we get our flags?
Man,
that's all you can do,
bro.
So
I'm gonna have to ask Dana about that one.
Here's the thing: if you have a receiver has got, or a running back have gotten past you, you trying to chase them down from behind. So that didn't sound right. You trying to. You try to chase him down. You try to chase the player down to tackle him, and you're behind him. You can't, if you grab him, like you said, D, I can't drop my weight. So how am I supposed to get him down?
Man, I'm telling you,
it makes absolutely no sense.
Dog, Derrick Henry, everybody in the AFC, everybody that the Ravens have to play this year,
Cincinnati,
are saying to themselves, what the hell are we going to do when he comes? I was going to say, when this month, when you see this, I'm sorry, bro, but just like when Bomani Jones was talking about Cam Newton, he's like, even a 7-year-old would look and be like, that's a big mother. That man, Derrick Henry, come running at you full speed, coming through the hole, and no, there's no way.
And you a DB.
Start running beside him.
Right.
You got past linebackers.
I'd rather kick your ankles out from in front of you and get the 15-yard penalty for tripping.
It's gonna be some tripping penalties.
Right. I'm gonna be a DB, all right, dead body, because that's just what's gonna happen. Man, come on. This dude gonna be dragging cats around the field like they children, man. Come on. No, I'm sorry. And I understand. I understand what they were trying to guard against, right? You know, just like with the horse collar tackle. I get that, right? But come on. Man, okay, sorry.
Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, again, player safety is number one. Understand. But this football is a violent sport. And everyone that plays football understands that football is a violent sport, and that there are inherent risks that you get by playing this sport, right? But to take away the defensive ability to do what the defense is supposed to do, then what is the game really? What is the game really? Horse collar? Are you grabbing somebody by the collar and then you yanking them down? Okay, but again, from Little League, you're taught grab them and drop. You're taught that. So how are you supposed to change the way in an off season? And then you can be a 15-yard penalty? Come on, man. It's gonna be they're gonna have 1,500 yards of penalties each game because you can't tackle nobody.
Man, I'm telling you right now, if I'm on the Ravens schedule, I know that week of practice, I'm getting a hamstring injury. I'm telling you now, my hamstring is tight, coach.
You get a strain of the Henry flu.
Right. My hamstring is tight, coach. I don't think I'm gonna be able to play this week. Man, there's no, come on, man. No. Because I'm trying to grab his big ass from the side anyway. Because I'm not trying to hit him head on. So I'm trying to figure out how to get a glancing blow to be able to grab him. Man, so I ain't gotta hit him straight up. Oh, come on. And I can't drop my weight.
Hold up. Straight up, you lost. You lost.
Even if you win, you lost.
Right.
Aaron Donald may be the only player, but even with that, even the defensive lineman, he got like an 8-yard run and start, right? And they just standing there. I gotta be able to grab you and drop, dude. Bro. There is no way because he would like 250.
If you remember, okay, so here I go putting back on my and talk about the University of Illinois, my former engineer's cap, right? Mm-hmm. Momentum equals mass times velocity.
Uh-huh.
So that means that as a defensive player, even the defensive lineman, even if I'm Aaron Donald, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, defensive tackle to ever play the game. I have a lot of mass, but I don't have any velocity. It's not like we running at each other. I'm standing there. So all I have is my mass. This dude has 250 pounds, and he coming at you at 19 miles an hour.
So,
in the words of Ludacris, basically just say move.
Get out the way.
What did JJ on Good Times say that time he was a member of the Satanites and they was about to fight the warlords, and he was like, it's 500 warlords, it's 100 Satanites, and 500 go into 100 as many times as they want to.
So let me do this.
That's exactly what them defensive tackles ain't trying to hit Derrick Henry that many times a game, straight up like that. I don't care how big you are. And he run, man.
Derrick Henry is 6'4", 250. He runs a 4.5 40.
And he got an 8-yard head start. the average DB in the league is 180 pounds. And you talking about tackling somebody that's 6'4", 250, running a 4.4 head on? Are you nuts? What does the NFL mean about player safety? That ain't nothing safe. There ain't nothing safe about that. Nothing. Nothing. No. Come on, man. No.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a bad one,
man.
And I'm expecting them to change that the following year.
Bro, people thought that stiff arm Derek gave dude was bad. Wait till they see him. It's gonna be like Tecmo Bowl. Remember when Bo Jackson used to run Tecmo Bowl and the little players just be flying all over the place?
That's all you can do.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's all you can do.
Man, I'm grabbing that dude by his ankles. That's the only thing I'm doing. Man.
So the other rule change that the NFL have is kind of interesting, and that's a new rule on the kickoffs. And again, the NFL looking at player safety. But it's actually one of the what was it, the XFL? It was the way that the XFL did their kickoffs. The kicker kicks the ball as normal, but everybody stands at the 35, I think it is. Is it the 35?
The 35. I think one team is on
they're 5 yards. They're 5 yards apart.
They're 5 yards apart.
Yeah, they're 5 yards apart, but they're standing there and they can't move until the receiver catches the ball. Right. And at that point, that's when they go. And what it does, the idea behind it is to eliminate those, again, what we were just talking about, two big, huge guys running full steam ahead and smashing into each other, right, from 50 yards away. So that's what it's designed to prevent. And the thought is, all right, we're going to eliminate a lot of these injuries, the main thing is the head injuries, the concussions and so forth. But what it also will do, it's going to put the return specialist back into the game plan, really, because now they actually have a chance to return these kicks.
Cordero Patterson.
They want them to return the kicks. So it's going to put that back into the equation. But one thing is going to take away or change is the onside kick, because now, in order to do an onside kick, you have to announce that you're doing an onside kick.
Yeah, no more surprise onsides.
Yeah, no more surprise.
But how often did anybody really ever do surprise onside kicks? They never.
You can tell by the way they're setting up.
You can tell by the way they're setting up now. You know the game situation. You always knew when it was going to be an onside kick. We've only really had a couple of instances, and one was in the Super Bowl. But you've really only had a couple of instances where there have been surprise onside kicks. So that part of the rule doesn't really bother me at all, or doesn't make me feel any sort of way. I should say. I shouldn't say bother. But I like the new rule. I want to see the kickoff, the kick returner come back into the game. I want to see another Devin Hester. I want to see Cordero Patterson be able to run it back. Shoot, I want to go back to my man. Oh, love him. You know what I'm talking about, from Kansas City, the human joystick. You know who I'm talking about.
He's been out for a long time.
But I'm saying,
but you do know the Cordero is in Pittsburgh. He just signed with Pittsburgh.
Dante Hall. I just said I don't want to talk about Pittsburgh, and here you go bringing them up. But Dante Hall. I want to go back to seeing that. Yeah, I know. And Cordero Patterson got the record for most return touchdowns.
Does he? He beat Devin Hester?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Cordell. On a completely tangent subject, Cordell Patterson's career has taken a much different arc than we thought he was going to take. When he came in as a receiver,
he holds the all-time record for the most kickoff return touchdowns with 9.
Oh wow! Go ahead, Cordell. But yeah, that rule I'm actually looking forward to. Now that tackling rule.
Now it's gonna be the thing that's gonna be crazy though is to watch now. What it also does too, though, interestingly enough, is that now you're going to see the skill of the kickers. Mm-hmm. Because they're not allowed to kick it out of the end zone anymore. It has to be in the field of play. So if it makes it to the zone, like there's a zone, there's a zone that particular part of the area where the return area, it has to hit in the zone. It has to land in the zone. If it doesn't, then like if it's a touchback or out of the end zone or whatever, then the opposing team gets the ball at like the 40. Or something like that.
I missed that part of the rule.
Yeah, so they have to if you're going to kick off, there has to be a return. So there's no more kicking it in the end zone and then running out the end zone. So you probably won't see any more 100-yard returns, like we did back in the day. But it has to hit within that particular zone. So now you really get to see the skills of these kickers and the punters and so on and so forth who kick the ball and put it in buckets over in the corner of the end zone and in the corner of the field. So that's going to be interesting part about this too, that there are penalties if the ball does not land in that zone.
Now that's very interesting. That's a very interesting twist to that rule.
I'll look it up. It's something about the zone.
So, but here's the question: you're concerned about the kickoff. What about the punt return? You still got them running, smashing into each other.
Well, not really, because on the punt return, everybody's still up on the line.
Yeah, they just turn around and run backwards.
They just turn around, or they block, because you have to block the people that are coming in trying to block it. And then with the gunners, you're right there, trying to keep the gunner from getting down the field to hit the punt returner. So everybody's right on the line of scrimmage. Matter of fact, they're closer to one another in terms of the line of scrimmage. They're
defending each other all the way down. That's right. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So it says, wait a minute. Hold on. It's something. Wait a minute. Let me find it. It says any kick that is caught or lands in the landing zone must be returned, while any kick that falls short of the landing zone will be ruled a touchback and spotted at the returning team's 40-yard line. If a kick hits the landing zone and then goes into the end zone, it has to be returned or downed by the receiving team.
Okay. Does it say where the landing zone is?
It's the 20, from the goal line to the 20.
Okay, so long as it's within the 20, but it can't go out of the back of the end zone.
Yes, it has to land it has to land in the zone.
Okay.
Either way, it has to land in the zone. So if it hits before the zone, right, then it's a touchback, and they get the ball at the 40.
If it goes behind the zone,
if it hits the zone and goes into if it hits the zone and then goes into the end zone, it has to be returned or you have to down it because it's still a live ball.
Okay.
Just like
it always. Down it, 20, go back to the 25.
Yeah, probably I think the 20, 25 or maybe the 30 or something like that. I didn't see that part of the rule.
Okay, but they can't kick it out of the back of the end zone. They kick it out of the back of the end zone. It's a touchback. And I mean, it go
Get on to the 40. Let's see it.
to the 40. Okay, cool. So they can't, those big leg kickers can't just boot it out the back of the end zone and get no return. Oh
Right.
wow, yeah, that does put a lot of emphasis on the kicking game.
Yeah, it has to land in the zone. It has to kick it into the zone.
That's what's up. That's kind of sweet. I like that. Yeah.
So anyway,
again, I like that rule. Tackling rule, not so much. Now let's go to this topic. And it's a this week it became big news because of two different sports, baseball and basketball, and that is gambling in sports. Lucy, do we have a problem? So D, your boy Shohei Ohtani. let's go to that first, and then dudes, I'm gonna come to you about Jonte Porter. But Shohei Ohtani, let's give you the background. So there was ESPN was working on a story about gambling in sports. This sports bookie in California, where sports books are illegal, who was under federal investigation for basically running a bookmaking business. But where it became real interesting is when they seized his information, when they seized his records, there were some wire transfers that came in from the biggest star in Major League Baseball, one Shohei Ohtani, the holder of a $700 million contract from the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, of course, when ESPN saw that, we really need to investigate this. So the story that they were about to report the day before the thing came out was that the Shohei's interpreter had a gambling problem, and that Shohei had wired money to pay off his gambling debts. At that time, there was only $1 million. It was two $500,000 transactions. Later on in the day, as more stuff started coming out, they found out it was actually $4.5 million that was wired from Shohei's account to this bookie. So the Dodgers were playing a game over in Korea. After the game, the ownership got the players together, the players and the management together, to inform them about this story, to give them a heads up about this story, saying that ESPN is about to report this story about Shohei paying off his translators' gambling debts, and that there's gonna be a whole lot of questions being asked, blah 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 blah. But what they said, how they presented it was they said there's a story going to come out, and that the interpreter has a gambling problem, and he had these gambling debts, and they wanted to just inform them prior to the story coming out. So the players were like, okay, what's the big deal? He has a gambling debt. Shohei paid the debts off. What's the problem? But when they said the dude has a gambling debt. What's the problem? They didn't know about Shohei paying the debts off. So then management started telling them that Shohei wired this money to the bookies to pay off the debt, and Shohei's like, "What? I did what? Wait a minute, I don't know nothing about that." So then that's when the story really changes, takes a right turn. So Shohei is saying he never knew anything about any of this, and that the interpreter stole his money. That's what his representatives were saying. So now the question is, how much do you actually believe that story? That it's the interpreter stole $4.5 million out of Shohei's account.
Okay. I can believe it for a number of reasons, but I'll get into those in a second.
Okay.
But if all that they were going to report was that Shohei Ohtani had paid off the interpreter's debts, Shohei could have shut up.
And
he didn't have to say nothing, because at that point, nobody had reported that he did anything wrong. The fact that he was like, oh, what? I ain't paid off nobody's debt. The fact that he said that says to me that, yeah, it's something else going on here. If it was just the idea of that you paid off the debt and you paying off the debt gets you out of the gambling trouble, then you keep your mouth shut. Yeah, I paid off his debt because he's taking the fall. It's gotten you out of trouble. You like, yeah, I transferred over to such and such. Nobody has to know anything. But the fact that he was like, I didn't do any of that says a lot to me. Okay. Secondly, what I'll say about it is that I think it is very plausible. One of the reasons that I think it's very plausible is the fact that we've heard a number of different stories. They just did a whole little special on TNT talking about the one woman who took Dennis Rodman's money and took all these other folks' money. That you have these agents and, you know, people like Bernie Madoff who got all of Kevin Bacon's money and got all of Liam Neeson's money and all this kind of stuff that you hear about these people that people trust, right? Right? You know, for example, if I'm, as we just got finished talking about dudes in algebra, right? If you know, so you got people who play sports who are even worse than algebra. We know dudes ain't necessarily good in algebra, but we know he can add and subtract, right? Yeah. We know he can multiply and divide, but you have other people who can't do that. So they trust other people to deal with their money. And then you're talking about Shohei Ohtani, who we really don't know anything about, but just because he's Asian and Japanese don't mean that he's good in math. We know he's good in baseball. That doesn't mean that he's a good accountant. It doesn't mean any of that. So you're playing baseball all the way over
CJ Stroud
20, but right. But you're playing a sport in a foreign country. That's literally a whole day away. Like it's tomorrow in Japan. And you don't speak the language, you have an interpreter. So you have to trust that what he's telling you, other people are saying is true. You have to trust that when you say something to him in Japanese that he tells people in English, you have to trust that he's telling them that he's conveying exactly what it is that you're saying. So it doesn't strike me as strange that he trusted dude, because aren't they supposed to be longtime friends? It doesn't strike me as strange that he trusted dude to handle his money. And he wasn't thinking about it. Hey, as long as all my needs are getting met, I'm still able to buy all of this stuff that I want to buy and such. I'm not even checking my bank account. I'm trusting that dude is taking care of it. And then to find out that he done paid $4.5 million out of my account. Whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean? I haven't paid off anything. That's not the discussion that we had. So I find it very plausible in that reason. But I also find it very plausible, knowing what little bit I know about Asian culture, Japanese culture, and the idea of honor and so on and so forth. I also find it plausible that the interpreter would fall on the sword, so to speak, you know, to use a very bad samurai analogy, here, right? You know, that he would fall on the sword, so to speak, for Shohei. You know, I sent you that clip of Pete Rose talking about, I wish I had it, right? That kind of thing.
I wish I had an interpreter.
Right. So it works both ways, right? But I don't really, like Michael Wilbon said the other day, I don't really know enough about Shohei Ohtani. We don't know enough about Shohei Ohtani to even decide whether when he gave the little statement, if he was telling the truth. Hell, I don't speak Japanese. So I don't know if he sounded remorseful. I don't know his tone. I don't know any of that. He was saying a whole bunch of stuff that I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. So there's no way that I can really say I found him believable. Hell, I didn't even understand what the hell he was saying. So
did you believe the new interpreter? That's the question.
Well, the new interpreter was writing the stuff down. You know, he was writing it down and then telling us. So I don't know what his tone was either. You know, I do know from speaking foreign languages that there are a lot of ideas and concepts that don't translate directly into another language. So again, I don't know, but I find both sides very plausible. But again, to go back to what I said at the beginning, the fact that he spoke up immediately and was like, "Oh no, no, excuse me, hello." He did the horse shack. Ooh. I didn't pay off nobody's debt. That to me says a lot.
So,
because he didn't do it privately. He didn't do it privately.
He did it in the media.
He didn't come to ownership privately and say, "Hey, I didn't do that." He did that openly in a room full of people. Like, I didn't do that.
So, again, is it plausible? Yes. My only reservation is with how wire transfers work. And with that, and again, seeing as though there is a language barrier, he understands, he knows some English. He's not completely illiterate when it comes to English. He does know a little bit of English, but especially with a wire those size, the bank is going to call the account holder to verify. You got a passcode, all this stuff to verify that this wire, that you want to send this wire. So he had to have knowledge of these wires. There's absolutely no way he did not have knowledge of these wires.
I disagree, because you can give someone that power. It's called power of attorney. You can give someone the power you can give someone, like, it's the same way when if I give someone access to my bank account. Someone can send things from my particular bank account. The information will, as the second person that's on that bank account, it's just like in our joint bank account. My wife can go into the joint bank account and she can send money, she can wire money, she can do all kinds of stuff. And I would not on the account. And I wouldn't necessarily know.
But here's I hear you. But here's the thing. If you're giving someone power of attorney, you got lawyers, you got accountants, you got all this other stuff. Why are you giving it to your translator?
Because he's Japanese. I don't know none of you American.
No.
No.
You think we don't know?
And I've been knowing this dude since high school. Right.
I feel like I trust him. He could talk for me.
I know that. I would think I know, right? That I could trust Johnny. Shout out to Johnny Brooks. That I could trust Johnny before I trust some accountant, or before I trust some lawyer, or before I trust such and such and such. Before I give somebody that I do not know.
But how do you know he doesn't know them?
When I don't.
How do you know they're not Japanese?
Huh?
How do you know that his attorneys and his accountants are not Japanese?
I don't, but which is why I'm saying that when you start talking about going back to how long that they've known each other, I would rather give Johnny access to stuff, because I'm like, look, man, I ain't got time. I'm trying to play baseball. I ain't got time to be up. And baseball, remember, they playing every day. They playing.
You have other obligations as well.
There's no off when all of this stuff is happening. So I don't have time to be thinking about all that. So, hey, Johnny, I'm gonna give you access to such and such and such and blah 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 blah. And then if I need something, handle this. Again, it's not. I don't find it. It's not. What's the word? It's very possible that dude had that ability. It's very possible that dude.
It is possible. I will give you that it is possible. But
and then you're also basing this off of what you would do.
Again, that's true. I will have to admit that.
We don't know somebody. We don't have somebody like that.
Yeah, you would have to admit that person that's being alleged.
Because at the end of the day, I give any one of y'all, I would give any one of y'all the ability to take care of my business. I understand over
somebody else, or at least,
that's what I said.
Or at least I'm gonna give one of y'all. I'm gonna have one of y'all be the ones to second guess this dude. Like, so
it is possible,
right?
But the way my bank account is set up,
I ain't got $700.
I would know there's $4.5 million going out of my bank account.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? So again, I understand. It is possible,
Right.
but I don't care how much money you make, bro. I don't care how rich you are. You're gonna notice $4.5 million being taken out of your bank account. You're gonna notice it. It's not like I gave it to you to invest and then something happens.
But if you're paid, okay, I can't make this analogy here, but we talked about this before. Okay, I can't make the same analogy that I made to you on the phone, but we know that all Shohei Ohtani's money, again, because we know how banks work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all in one account.
Yeah,
it's not all in a number of different places. So
yeah.
if I take pinch from here and a pinch from there and a pinch from here and a pinch from here, and then I end up with $500,000 or $400,000, you're not noticing that. So
it's the pinch theory. It's the pinch theory.
If I pinch enough, if I pinch off this and pinch off this and pinch off this and pinch off this, by the time I put all them pinches together, I got a lot.
You got a whole package.
Right, I got a whole
package of pension.
Right.
Pension package.
Exactly. So again, while we want to pick it apart, again, we don't know him well enough to know that maybe he would be the kind of person that would give somebody access to that just so he don't have to worry about it. Maybe he would. Again, I find both sides plausible, which is why I can push back on whatever it is that you say or whatever. I can kind of push back because I can see both sides. On the one hand, I ain't giving nobody access to my money like that I'm not paying attention to it. Man, if I all of a sudden ended up with $700 million in my bank account, I would while we doing this podcast, my bank account would be I would be pulling up
the staring at the screen the whole time.
Staring at it. You like, D, what y'all looking at? I'm looking at my bank account. So so that's what I would do, right? Shohei might not be that kind of dude. He might say, hey man, handle that and let me, go ahead and play baseball and let me keep making this money. And dude took advantage of it.
At the end of the day, I would hope that when all this stuff comes out, that it's nothing. It's not a Pete Rose situation where they're gonna get rid of him because he is, like I said, one of the best players in baseball right now, if not the best in baseball. And we would hate to lose him over some stupid gambling. Even though they said none of the bets were on baseball. They made a point. ESPN made a point to put that out there that none of the bets were on baseball.
And also remember, Pete Rose wasn't betting until he was a manager. He was already out of baseball as a player. He was managing or whatever when the bets came out. But at the same time, and just for a little pushback on that too, right? If I'm smart and I'm stealing his money, I ain't gonna bet on baseball. If I'm trying to get away with, that's the last thing I'm gonna bet on is baseball, because that's the thing that's gonna get me caught.
Get you slammed, yeah.
It's because now I got money from Shohei Ohtani's account betting on baseball. Right. So he was smart enough to know how to keep the heat off of him.
And again, they weren't even investigating Shohei. It had nothing to do with Shohei. It's somebody else's issue. He just caught in the what is that, the backdraft.
Which is why in the locker room he was like, "Huh? Hold on,
I did what?
Wait a minute, I did what?
I did what?" But there's another gambling story.
And he probably said that in clear English too. What? Say what? I did what? He lost all that accent and everything. I did what? Okay. Anyway, sorry.
All right. So, dudes, there's another a gambling issue that just came out this week also, and that's in NBA. The Toronto Raptors center, forward/center, Jonte Porter, whose brother also plays in the NBA, Michael Porter Jr. He's not suspended. He's just being held out of games right now. And the reason for that is because, first off, it's if it's true, it's the stupidest thing ever. But people always think they can get away with stuff. But anyway, go to the story. Back in January, during the Toronto Raptors game, there was a lot of prop bets placed on Jontay Porter, who is not a starter. He's a bench player. But there's prop bets placed on him. And what prop bets are, for those that don't know, prop bets are for a particular player to do, to get certain stats. For instance, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 8 points, something like that. So there were these different prop bets placed on Jontay Porter to meet these different thresholds. And the bets, there's a lot of bets. Usually prop bets, and this is according to the bookmakers in Las Vegas. Usually prop bets on regular season NBA games, the most you'll see is maybe a $2,000 bet on like Steph Curry getting 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Steph Curry's gonna get a triple-double. So you may have something like that, people, because there are huge odds to win when you have these different prop bets. There were $10,000 and $20,000 bets being placed on Jontay Porter to go under what the stats that he was projected to get. So what happened? First off, the bookies saw all this money being placed on that. That was odd, because here it is, a bench player with all this action being placed on him. And it was also odd because it was all under. All the things were under. So then what happened? During the game in January, Jontay Porter, who played, got sick. He got sick. So he couldn't continue playing. So what happened? All those people that bet the under on these prop bets, they won. You can't take Vegas money and they not get pissed, because they're always supposed to win. So Vegas had a somewhat huge loss on this one particular prop bet. So what Vegas did, they said, okay, we're gonna say that's an aberration. No, it just happened. But we're gonna keep monitoring this to see if this is a trend. Nothing happened for another 2 months. But then last weekend, Jontay Porter played again. And then all of this traffic got placed on Jontay Porter again to go under on these different stats. In the game, Jontay Porter actually started because there's a lot of injuries going on in Toronto. So they were really expecting him to get, they placed the lines based on him knowing he's going to start. He should get accomplish these thresholds. So what happened this time, dudes? Another sickness. So the Vegas bookies like, oh hell no, something going on. So they contacted
one
NBA.
shame on me.
Exactly. Fool me twice? No, you ain't gonna fool me twice.
Right.
NBA contacted. The Vegas contacted the NBA and was like, look, we have some huge questions about this particular thing that's going on. So now they pull Jontay. He's away from the team for personal reasons, again, quotes, while they look into what has actually transpired. So until the actual evidence comes out, I can't say whether or not he did it. Right. But what I can say is that this has brought to light a situation where a lot of this can actually go on. And especially with your bench players, because bench players, they can score 15 points one game and not score the next game.
And they ain't making no money.
And they ain't making no money. And they ain't making no money. So,
that gives you more incentive.
And on that 20,000, there were, I think they said it was 800 to 1 on the 20,000. So that's 8 times what you bet. So if I'm betting $20,000, man.
Right.
Man. This show ain't about math, dude. So I ain't gonna.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was looking at D. I know you wasn't looking at me.
So the question is, dudes, do you see this as something that can start hindering our different sporting events?
I certainly think it can. And like you said, it's kind of hard to judge, somebody's intent or whatever without actually knowing the person, like that. It was rather odd in both of those instances that he mysteriously became ill or / injured or whatever you want to call it in these two specific injured instances. And like you said, Vegas is not going to let it go. They're not going to turn a blind eye. When they're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it where his brother Michael Porter Jr. came to his defense and saying he doesn't believe his brother would do anything like that. Like he said, it's it's arguments both ways. Like you said, he's a bench player, and it's real odd that this would happen. I hope this is not the case.
I hope so
too. Do anything this stupid. You never know. Like I said, you would actually just have to know the person, and even then, you never know the situations. You can say what you're going to do in certain situations, but when presented, these different choices and options, who's to say what you wouldn't do?
Mm-hmm.
You like to think that he has more integrity than to gamble his career away. So it's gonna come out.
Let me see. So he is on a. So here's the thing. This is his first season with the Raptors. He's on a 2-way contract, and he gets paid. It's still a lot. $415,000. So his salary is $415,000. So think of it this way. Like I said, you can go the pros and you can go both ways with this thing. On both sides, not both ways. You can go both sides with this thing. There's a lot of stuff. I'm saying a lot of wrong words today. You can go.
Go both sides.
You can go both sides with this.
I'll go both.
In the instance of Jontay Porter, I would think, I'm gonna give the brother the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna say he did anything wrong. I'm gonna support him until I know otherwise. However, if you look at it, if I pay one game and I can make $160,000 in that one game, and I'm only making $415,000 for the whole season, So he's in Toronto. Does he have a translator? We need to find that out. Let's look into that.
Well,
Toronto got that big tax over there, right?
I was just about to say, dudes. They take 55% or 50%.
They take a man.
Well, but that's also because many of these other countries have something that we don't have: universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole different story in itself to even start getting into.
Another podcast. Right,
that's a whole different podcast, right? On a whole different topic. But if you think about the fact that they take that much in taxes, which is why a whole lot of players never want to play for Toronto, right? Mm-hmm. But that they take those kinds of taxes, so then you're still talking about the fact that you're gonna get $160,000. So because of that 415,000 you said he's making, if they take it half of that, or more than half, at least half, I'm sure it's at least like somewhere between 40 and 50%. So if they're taking that means you're only bringing home $200,000. So you basically almost made your whole entire salary back in one game on one prop bet.
Mm-hmm. So again, I'm not gonna say he did it, but if he did do it, I can understand why he would do it. Because hey, like you said, D, man, if I just do this one little thing, I can make my whole salary in one whop.
To go back to a Chris Rock joke, I ain't saying he should have killed him, but I understand.
I understand.
Exactly. And then it was 2 games, so there you go.
Right.
And then so what happened was, and that's just human nature. Again, if it happened this way, it's just human nature. You got away with it that first time. I robbed the bank and got away with it the one time. Ain't nobody caught me. They don't know what happened. The bank don't even know that they robbed right now, right? So, what's to stop me from trying to do that second time? I can do it one more time. They ain't gonna know.
It's great, and then let's also understand. I think, and this is something that I try to get over to my classes a lot too when I'm teaching about the idea of labor and exploitation of labor, you know, and why labor unions, you know, exist, right? And the example that I always use is the NBA, or I use sports, right, to teach about wealth and this kind of thing, and people assume that all of the NBA players, that all of the NFL players, that all of the Major League Baseball players are making LeBron James, Dak Prescott, Shohei Ohtani money. And they're not. Even though you got LeBron who's making $33 million or $40 million a year, or $50 million a year, right? There's a salary cap. So the dude that's at the end of the bench, them guys that you always see in the suits or whatever, that's at every game because they still dress, you know, because it's really 15 players on the roster and not 12 that you see on the bench or whatever. But them cats that's sitting at the end of the bench, towel waving, they not making nowhere near as much money as LeBron James, right? So I think people have to understand that too, because they assume that they all millionaires. What do you got to do that for? No, they're not all millionaires. You have to understand how the system works, and the system in the NBA works just like the capitalist system outside of the NBA. And if you really want to look at the money, basically people like Jonte Porter are the working poor in the NBA, right? Hell, LeBron James, if you look at the numbers, LeBron James, according to the money that is actually generated in the NBA, he's a minimum wage worker.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing. Again, if you look at the numbers within themselves. So it's real easy. There's a lot of temptation out here with these prop bets and all this kind of betting that they're now allowing. I find it very difficult for them because this is going to be the same issue with the marijuana issue as we saw with Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Who I am so glad is now getting props now. They got her on the NBA Olympics commercial. So I'm so glad to see her have made that comeback, just as an aside. But the thing is that she got caught smoking in a state where it's legal. So now you're talking about these sports leagues that are in bed with DraftKings, that are in bed with FanDuel. They're doing commercials. They're doing commercials about these things, telling you to come bet. Hell, part of ESPN, they have their own betting shows now.
ESPN bet.
ESPN always brings on some analyst talking about the line, how much people should bet, and so on and so forth on these particular games. They also talk about the prop bets. So, what makes you think that these players aren't going to partake in? They're people too, just like the audience that ESPN is trying to appeal to when they're doing these commercials or whatever. Well, they're doing the same thing. So I don't know. Maybe they opened up a Pandora's box and didn't really think about all this kind of stuff before they started getting into it. Or, as we all know, as you just got finished saying, right, the whole reason that you get into it anyway is because of the greed.
And that's it.
They saw the money that could be generated, and these players getting suspended or whatever was really kind of collateral damage in terms of the money that they could make.
The NBA, I would never believe the NBA did not foresee something like this actually being possible, or the NFL or whatever. Matter of fact, right now the NCAA is trying to actually ban all NCAA prop bets because they don't want that pressure to be put on those young players. So I'm not gonna. I know they knew that this was a possibility,
right?
But like you said, D, it's about the greed. So over here, all right, I got a chance. Somebody, milking the system,
right?
But over here, I got a whole big old huge pile of money that I didn't have access to before, and this money is way more important to me than this player over here.
Right.
And what's going to happen is, if it comes out that this is true, the NBA they'll have a little black eye for a couple of days, but at the end of the day, they still gonna be out there promoting the gambling. You got teams with FanDuels on their jerseys right now.
Oh yeah, and then you got to look at the part where I think it was a JB Bickerstaff that was getting the threats or whatever, and I'm pretty sure a player gets they get threats for
when it,
not making a prop wager, not making So I mean, you got to look at that. That's another downside to the gambling.
Yo boy, dudes. Jason Tatum said he feels bad when he doesn't get the numbers that the fantasy numbers. The projections for that they have for him on his FanDuel. He actually, so which means that he's looking at this stuff, and he when he doesn't get the 28 points in the 8 rebounds, he feels bad because he thinks that he's let these people down.
And I'm sure he's not the only one.
Yeah, that was it. Not that he's out there trying to gain from it, but he understands. Look, man, these people.
If you're not consciously, thinking about it subconsciously, it is affecting.
Mm-hmm. Right. But you also have the alternative, like you was talking about, these stupid zealots out here that sending death threats because you didn't get 18 points. You only got 17 points, and I lost my money. Well, that's your fault. You don't want to gamble. It's called gambling for a reason. You gambled your money,
right?
So, but yeah, it could become a problem. I pray that this is just a coincidence. But anyway, moving on. It's that time of year again. Baseball season opening days have begun. Baseball actually started a week ago when the Dodgers and the Padres are playing over in Korea.
The Seoul
but for everybody else, it started Thursday.
Korea.
And already I'm fussing about the Cardinals because, man,
I don't even think,
bro. If it's anything like these first 2 games, man, this pitching is gonna be horrible all year. It's just gonna be horrible all year. D, you still got the projected standings up?
Yep, I still got them pulled up.
All right, tell people some of the projected standings.
All right, so they're predicting for let's start in the American League. The American League East, they've got Baltimore winning the division. And they got the Yankees coming in second. They got Tampa Bay. I'm looking on Fox Sports, by the way, so it might be different on another one. We got the Orioles winning the division. They actually have no team. Well, they actually have one team projected to win, 2 teams projected to win 100 games. But anyway, Baltimore, the Yankees, Tampa Bay Rays, the Blue Jays, and then they got the Boston Red Sox bringing up the rear in the American League East. In the American League Central, we got Minnesota. They got winning that division, but only winning 87 games. They got the Tigers at 500, coming in second. Kansas City Royals third. The Cleveland Guardians in fourth, and the Chicago White Sox in fifth. So essentially, they've got the American League Central being the most horrible league in Major League Baseball, the most horrible division in Major League Baseball. They got the Astros winning the West with the Rangers coming in second, the Mariners coming in third, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim coming in fourth, and Oakland obviously bringing up the rear. They've got them basically with the worst record in baseball in the end. The National League East, they got the Braves winning 100 games with the Phillies coming in second, Miami third, the Mets fourth, and the Nationals coming in fifth. In the Central, Fox Sports has my Reds predicted to win the American League Central, but only win. The National League Central, but only with 88 wins. So they've got the Reds, the Cubs, the Cardinals, still projected to be over 500, but only 1 game over 500.
I don't know how.
They've got the Pirates coming in fourth, the Brewers coming in fifth. The National League West, they have the Dodgers winning 104 games. The Diamondbacks projected to come in second, the Padres third, the Giants fourth, and the Rockies bringing up the rear in fifth. They've got Baltimore, the Yankees, the Twins, the Astros and the Rangers and the Mariners to all make the playoffs. And in the National League, they've got the Braves, the Reds, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks all predicted to make the playoffs in the National League. So that's what it's looking like. My Reds won 8-1 on opening day. So the opening day parade and all that kind of stuff in Cincinnati wasn't for naught this year. So I'm looking forward to watching my Reds this year, getting up to go see some games, taking the chickadee up to see her cousins, and then going to see some Reds baseball this year. I'm gonna go see some Cardinals baseball too, since they right across. Get a chance to do all of that this year. You gotta take her to see all the stomping grounds this year. So we'll see. But also the thing about baseball too, not to stay on opening day too much. You know, baseball is a long season, so there's going to be a lot to talk about. But I think that I wonder how long, because Major League Baseball is saying that this Ohtani investigation is going to be real short. So I want to see how much this Ohtani story is going to really become the narrative of this baseball season, particularly with the Dodgers. Again, they got the Dodgers predicted to win 104 games. That's a bold prediction, that you really got them to win 104 games. So we'll see.
But the thing is, yeah, they got to predict. They have 3 MVPs on their roster. 3 players that won MVP on their roster. They got Mookie
playing shortstop. We got to see how that's going to work.
That's going to be different. What is it? 2 or 3 Cy Young Award winners, pitchers, and they also got the dude that say his name,
Matsuhara. Yeah. It's Yokohama Matsuhara.
Matsuhara. Okay. They got him that they're paying $300 and some odd million to also. So the Dodgers are stacked. So I can understand. But the only thing about baseball is what you said. Baseball is a long season. And there's a lot, for whatever reason, the Dodgers get a lot of injuries every year. And to get to put the over-under at 104 wins, I think I'm taking the under on that one, bro. 104. That's a huge number, man. That's a huge number.
I'm sorry, I was totally wrong. His name is Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
How about that? That didn't sound right, but okay. I didn't have it up.
I got that because the other day we were talking about messing up his name, and so that made me think of that.
Even say it.
It's Yoshinobu Yamamoto is his name.
That's why I didn't even say it. So that's our baseball for the day. The thing about it, I like baseball. I'm a Cardinal fan. Even got the tattoo. But I'll go to a game and watch it, but I'm only watching the playoffs on TV. I don't sit around and watch a baseball game.
I can still watch a baseball game. To quote the Roots, it's a lazy afternoon. On a lazy afternoon, I can watch baseball. I still can watch baseball. It's still my favorite game to play on the PlayStation. Now I can play a whole season, like literally play and be a player and all of that. I can do that in baseball. I can't do that in the other ones, even though I like 2K.
Man, basketball, 2K is that's the best. Matter of fact, before the show, Juice was just talking about how he just picked up his 2K again.
Right. So
I'm on that 2K.
I can play it, and I like to play NBA 2K when we playing each other and stuff. But if I'm playing by myself, I like to play baseball. I don't know why that is, but I can play a whole season, 162 games and playoffs and everything. Anyway, I don't know why, but I can. So.
All right, so NCAA football. So this year we're going to have a new NCAA football playoff. Did they agree on 14 teams or is it just 12?
No, it's still 12. They haven't talked about expanding yet.
It's still 12 teams. This year they're going to have the 4 power conferences, and then the rest are going to be because the Pac-10 no longer exists, or Pac-12. Pac-12. They no longer exist.
They packed it in.
And they're gonna have at-large bids. But what I found interesting in this agreement is what Notre Dame had them put into the contract. So Notre Dame is one of the few teams that are not affiliated to a conference. Right now, that matter of fact, they said, you said what?
I said officially because they play in a number of different conferences, but they're not officially a part of any kind, and that's for
football. Let's say for football. Even BYU is now a part of a conference. But now you have the two Pac-10 teams. What is it? Arizona State and Washington State. They're unaffiliated to a conference. You have Connecticut.
I thought you said Arizona State went to the Big 12.
No, Arizona went to the Big 12. Arizona State's not there.
It was Arizona, Utah.
Or is it Oregon State? No, maybe it's Oregon State and Washington State.
I think it's Oregon State and Washington State.
Oregon State and Washington State. Okay. So they're unaffiliated to a conference. Notre Dame is unaffiliated for football. Notre Dame is unaffiliated, and so is Connecticut. So what Notre Dame had them put into this contract, well, they were the main driving force behind this, is that, well, first off, Notre Dame receives $50 million from NBC. That's the biggest reason why they don't want to be into a conference, because they don't want to share that $50 million with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, the Big Ten teams receive $60 million from their Big Ten contract. But Notre Dame also, this is how they got it set up. They received $16 million from the ACC for playing. Basically, they play an ACC schedule. They play most of the teams in the ACC. So ACC pays them $16 million. But Notre Dame also has it in there where if they make the playoffs, they can get an additional $6 million from the college playoff people, but also another $12 million if they win. So they have the potential to make another $18 million by winning the championship. No other team can make that much money. Like I said, right now the Big Ten teams they make the most money with the $60 million they get from their TV contract. Notre Dame is just balling. They are balling. So the question, D, is, with all of this fuss about Notre Dame need to get into a contract, blah, 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 do you think they're the smartest kid in the room right now?
They've always been the smartest kids in the room. And I don't mean that just because you got to have a high GPA to come there and play football. But think about it. They're the only team, they're the only college ever to have their own individual TV contract. Notre Dame had always.
Texas still has their Longhorn network, but go ahead.
Well, no. Remember, Notre Dame had a contract with NBC. They've had a contract with NBC forever, long before Texas had the Longhorn network, or whatever the hell they call it, the Cow network, or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. Notre Dame had a contract with NBC. I remember, growing up in Cincinnati, always watching Notre Dame on television because on Saturday. No one else played on NBC. Everybody else played on CBS, or they played on maybe ABC, Wild World of Sports, or whatever. But you always saw Notre Dame on NBC. So even though all of these conferences for years have been trying to entice Notre Dame to come, but they have that prestige that they don't have to, and they've leveraged that prestige. And so now that there's think of how many years that we talk about college football, and we talk about how all they want to do is make sure that Notre Dame has some way to get into the college football playoff. They're going to make sure Notre Dame can get in there, all of the hype for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame knows that, and they understand that, and they are leveraging that. And they're doing the same thing here. It's the exact same thing. So they've always been the smartest kids in the room when it comes to that.
Which is if you think about it, Notre Dame hasn't been they're they're like my Cowboys in that they haven't won since the 80s. Right? They went to the playoffs a couple of times, but they haven't won since the 80s.
They went to the championship game. Remember, they played Alabama.
They got killed.
Right. But they were there.
They were there. They were there. More than my Cowboys can say right now.
Yep.
But
Knicks,
and
all your other teams.
But the prestige that Notre Dame has, I don't know if the players of today really see that. But they're the players of today
ain't the old men working at the networks. The old men working at the networks
with all the power.
I look at Notre Dame as Donald Trump, in that they have this persona of being just the greatest thing ever, but when in actuality they're not. But you got these people paying them as they are, because now with ESPN, it used to be back in the day when they first got when they had these TV contracts, players would go to Notre Dame because this is how I can get on TV, right? I can be on TV by going to Notre Dame. I know every Saturday I'm gonna be on TV.
Every Saturday you're gonna be on NBC, no matter who they play or where they play.
But now all the conferences are on TV every Saturday or Friday, Saturday, however they play, Thursday, Friday, Saturday now. Actually, we got some Wednesday night games. That's what's stupid. But anyway, but now you can get on TV with whichever school. That's why the Big Ten has this huge billions of dollars TV contract. The SEC the same way. So you don't have to go to Notre Dame. That's the only place I can get on TV. So the players, they don't see it that way. But Notre Dame, no, they put out the persona that, hey, we're Notre Dame. You have to make accommodations for us. If I'm the I'll put it like this: I wouldn't have made this accommodation if I was just the as far as paying them extra money just for making it. If I'm the football championship, I would have done that. I'd have made them earn this money, but they don't make Notre Dame earn anything. They give it to them. Like you said, D, they make provisions to make sure Notre Dame is represented in this playoffs. They've always have. Ever since we've had this idea of a playoff, Notre Dame has always had their own separate path to make it. Whereas everybody else had to win a conference championship. You got to go undefeated, blah, blah, blah. Notre Dame, as long as you in the 11-1, we're going to put you in there. So, but to answer the question, are they the smartest kids in the room? Undeniable, man. Undeniable. It's genius. It's genius what they actually do. As much as I hate them, going back to especially Fonzo era, man, what was the coach? Was it Bruce Pearl?
No, Bruce Pearl was the coach.
He was at Ohio State.
Yeah, or at Iowa. It was what's his name? McLeod was the coach at Notre Dame.
Was it McLeod? Whoever the freaking basketball coach is, man, was at that time that caused Illinois to have a problem. Lousy sucker. And make him go there, piss me off. So I don't like Notre Dame. Skip them. Right. And they're not in this tournament either. The men's NCAA tournament. I don't know. Did Notre Dame even make it?
No, the women did, but they lost.
Cool.
It's 48. I gotta roll.
Oh, all right. Well, let me get to this last thing. We'll finish up. Me and Dee'S will finish up because it's all NBA.
Yeah. Y'all finish up. We can get back to our predictions that went horribly wrong. The tournament's not over.
Horribly wrong every year.
The tournament's not over yet. And
we'll do it next week when it's actually the Final Four and we really wrong.
Get to the Final Four, and then we can really talk about our stuff that was wrong up to that point.
Go do your thing, bro. How about
you can edit this kind of stuff, and we can talk about the TGL and all of that. So
all right. Get on off. How about bye. So dude, let's go to our NBA. All right, let me get you off removed. Oh, you saying something?
Do I need to keep it on to record?
Just click leave studio and you out.
Okay, fine.
Bye.
He got rid of him.
Hey, that's his fault. He got to go. So Pookie-doos. Oh, that's too close. I'm gonna put me back a little bit.
All up on me, boy. I look good right here.
Put it back a little bit. That's too close. So this, Draymond has been going through a whole bunch of stuff this year. What is it? 2 suspensions already, and just being Draymond. So this week, we had another Draymond situation. But the question is it time to stop saying Draymond being Draymond? Is it time to actually do something about him and his attitude? So what is up with Draymond?
My take on it, and I believe Golden State already knows this, that Draymond was never going to change. I think we all knew it, and at that time, I think it was a time when he was good enough to overlook some of the antics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's about I say about 4 years behind us now. They did win. They did beat my Celtics, whatever. But Draymond his game has been on the downside. He's been more known for antics than actual basketball for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just never going to change. You can see the frustration in Steph Curry. Steph is playing his heart out. He's trying to make up for the deficiencies of the team or whatever. And he needs Draymond's support. But Draymond would rather argue with the referee and get thrown out. Personally, I think he just didn't want to play back-to-back games.
He didn't want to play that game, man.
And that's why he got kicked out so early in the game. But it happens. But when you're in the heat of a playoff battle, or trying to stay in the play-in tournament, you need all hands on deck. And Draymond is just like I said, the antics is too much. He's more known for the antics than actual basketball at this point. And Clay is not really giving him anything, so it's all on Steph. And you can see now where it's just really weighing on him to have to carry the team.
So, well, first let me talk about Draymond first. In this particular play, there was a foul called on Andrew Wiggins. It had nothing to do with Draymond. He wasn't even in the play. For him to go off like he did, like you said, dudes, I felt the same way. He just didn't want to play that game. You can see how he just made sure they gave him that second tech, because he was walking to the dressing room and not even walking to the bench. Right? He wanted to get thrown out of the game. So, to me, like I said, it was a tipping point for Steph, because Steph is looking at this team. He got Draymond, whose skills have eroded. He is not the Draymond that everybody thinks about. I'm paying you $25 million for 6.6 rebounds and 4 assists. I'm sorry.
I still don't understand how he got that contract. I know it's based on
4 years.
The past.
4 years. Yeah, I got to pay you $100 million for that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, Clay cannot find his shot whatsoever. He has no lift. He's not the defensive player that he was. So you're looking at that. And then you're looking at all these young players that they brought in thinking, they're going to be the next people, and they're not doing anything. So Steph is looking at this like, man, I don't have any help. So then the question comes about Steph. Would Steph be wrong? Let's say it like that. Everybody wants, everybody say, he needs to stay with his blah, blah, blah. He needs to stay with the Golden State for the rest of his career. But would he be wrong to request a trade at the end of the season to go somewhere else where he does have an opportunity to get those champions? Because right now, Steph is all about legacy. It's all about Steph and his legacy, to find out where on this pillar of NBA greatness will he rest. So for him to stay at Golden State, he could stay with Golden State, get some more stats, not win anything for the next 4 years. Or he can go to another team like the Knicks and go ahead and win a championship. So do you think Steph would be wrong for wanting to follow that path? Would it do anything to his legacy?
I don't think it'll do anything to his legacy. If I was him, I wouldn't go. I'd put pressure on them to get rid of all those old guys, which I felt they should have did. You know, they should have did it last year, and then they should have done it by a trade deadline this year. But you know, they were trying to be loyal to these guys who simply don't have it anymore. And they were like, they're thinking, oh well, we could get this one last playoff push, and I mean, it's over. When it's over, it's over. And it's definitely over with them.
So look what they have. They got you got Chris Paul, who was first ballot Hall of Famer. You got Steph Curry, but Chris Paul can't do nothing. I mean, his game is
he doesn't have the legs anymore.
He doesn't have it.
He has the will, but it's time.
If you can keep Chris Paul to like 18 minutes a game, he'd be great. But he's been,
what is it, like maybe 24 minutes? I think about 20 minutes he'd be fine. I mean, he's efficient, but I mean, he
can't guard anybody.
I gotta say, it's kind of like toward the end when I was playing, my last couple of years playing basketball, it went from me, guarding point guards to guarding shooting guards to guarding small forwards, and then when you're 6 foot, you guard power forwards. It's time to go. That means you can't keep up. You can't even keep up with a small forward anymore, let alone a point guard or shoot guard. So
it's time to go. It's time to go. But they got then he got Clay, who is going to be a Hall of Famer, but ever since those injuries, man, Clay is not the same. He doesn't have to lift. He can't defend like he used to. And for Clay's shot, man, I've never seen Clay Thompson's shot miss as bad as he does right now.
But see, what I noticed about Clay is the fact that he used to be a guy that used to run and come around screens, or he get wide open looks, from screens and picks or whatever. Now it's like Clay wants to like shoot over people, and that wasn't his game when he was healthy.
That's because he can't run around the screens anymore.
Exactly.
He can't do that off the pick shot anymore.
Exactly. But he definitely can't do what he's trying to do now.
And he's not a driver. He doesn't put the ball on the floor and drive like that. I mean, he can, but that's not his game, right? So it's just going. And then you got Draymond, who's we already talked about him. He's nothing. Andrew Wiggins, who's been MIA for the last year and a half.
Just can't count on him.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna get from him. And then you got the young guys. So there's really nothing there. And I understand, you want Steph to stay there and see if they can rebuild. But how are they going to rebuild? They're paying Draymond $100 million. They're paying Steph.
That contract really hurt them.
And that contract's killing them.
I don't understand how they couldn't see that coming. I mean,
you got $30 million with Wiggins. So who's going to trade? Who's going to give you anything of value for Andrew Wiggins the way he's been playing the last year and a half? Who's going to give you anything for Draymond Green when you have no idea whether or not he's going to be on the court or not? So that's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, yeah, it would be great if you can build around Steph still and make that one last push. But the reality of the situation is based on their salary cap, they just don't have it. And Steph is the only way they can rebuild is by trading Steph because he's their best asset.
And the thing I thought, the reason I thought they should have gave him up last year, Clay and Draymond, was, it was still kind of like a little mystique that maybe they have something left. And that was the perfect time for them to come up off of those guys. Now it's solidified. They don't have anything left. See, you can't get rid of them.
That's what happened here in Detroit when we kept the going to work Pistons way too long. When Chauncey Billups got older, when Rip Hamilton got older, when Ben Wallace was getting older, the only quote unquote young player you had was Tayshaun Prince, but you can't really base your whole team off of Tayshaun Prince. Joe Dumars showed too much loyalty to that core, and then all of a sudden, and that cliff, that's why they call it the cliff. You come right over to it, and then you just drop.
Yeah, and I remember Danny Ainge said that about Red Auerbach. He said Red Auerbach, that was the biggest mistake he ever made was holding on to the big three too long. Due to loyalty.
And that's
everybody else is making the same mistake.
And then here's the biggest problem is right now in today's NBA, because the teams are loyal to you, the players expect to be paid, these top salaries, because Clay is expecting Draymond money.
Since you
Clay
gave it to Draymond,
where's mine? Right? And now they're like, wait a minute, bruh, we love you. I can't pay you like that. I just can't. So it's causing a rift within the team. Just the same issue with Draymond and them last year, causing a rift within the team because when you telling players that have been there for this long, we love you, but we can't pay you, like we love you.
You gave the money to Jordan Poole.
And then you gave the money to Jordan Poole, right? So, and then that brings us to this one. With all of this going on, right now, Golden State is 1 game up on the Rockets for that 10th spot. And the Rockets have won 11 games in a row. Do you think Golden State over these last 9 games, dude, will hold off the red hot Rockets?
That's a good one. Because the Rockets are playing good defense. They're playing great under what's my guy for the Celtics? Udoka. Who made Udoka? They're playing great under him. The young guys are like really maturing. Jalen Green looks like a young Kobe Bryant to me.
He's been balling.
Great.
He's been balling.
Fred Van Fleet has been steady. The steady veteran force for the team. The one Thompson twin, he's playing great. I mean, they just look. And you got Dylan Brooks. I mean, they look. I think they're like deep, man. They look good. And Golden State, like we said, they just it's too many holes. It's a sinking ship. So their only hope is if Steph can hold. If Steph can perform and be Steffordless and keep them in the play-in tournament. But like I said, even then, is it really worth it? Is it?
There you go. Is it worth it?
Him expending all this effort and energy, just
they be better in the lottery, man. Trying to get lucky in the lottery.
Just for Draymond to torpedo the team.
Although last time they was in the lottery, they drafted what's the big boy name? Man, he here in the Pistons. Wiseman. They drafted James Wiseman instead of your boy down in Carolina.
Exactly.
And how different would that team be if they had LaMelo? So I don't.
Rockets are coming.
The Rockets are coming, bro. I think the Rockets are there. They're just too hot right now. And Golden State has too many issues. And right now they don't like Draymond, man. Draymond has torpedoed their team yet again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to finish up on Draymond, after the game, you go on your podcast. You don't talk to the media, but you go on your podcast, and you say that that can't happen. Of course it can't happen.
Keeps happening.
Of course it can't happen. But you keep making it happen.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like a lack of accountability. I mean, you can actually control this.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually
now, Draymond,
if you want
to come on our podcast and talk about that, cool. But on your own podcast, nah, don't do that. don't do that. All right, dudes. You got that green and white jersey standing right behind you, man.
I don't know if they're tired, but I'm tired. and my mind
Number
is troubled.
4. Man, are y'all tired or in trouble, man?
Yeah, we are tired, and I'm troubled. I mean, these losses, and like we talk about it, from like on every podcast, I would say, if the other teams keep the game close, we already know what's going to happen. They're going to lose it. And so, just like we know it, everybody knows it. So it's just to the point where now, Boston's either going to have to change that narrative or, that's what they're going to continue to be known for.
But dudes, I hear you, but they haven't been keeping the game close. They've had 20-point leads. The last 2 games with the same team.
Well, the other teams are thinking that all we have to do is get the game close. And the Celtics, like I said, they fall in love with these 3-pointers. You know, they start going into hero ball mode. You know, they're like, oh, okay, well, we're playing the Hawks or whatever. You know, they're fighting for a play-in spot. So, you know, I could get 40 this game. You know, and you're like abandoning everything. And I mean, the lack of plays. It's just bad. It's hard for me to watch. Because like you see it coming and you know it's going to happen, but they still do it. You know, they're letting up. You know, playing down to the competition, and then when the games get close, we're gonna blow it in the end. Oh, shout out to DeJounte Murray, because I'm a DeJounte Murray fan too. So
oh, he been balling. He been balling.
It's great to see him play well. You know, I wish him and Trae Young could get together.
What I will say, the Celtics are still going to win 60 games this year. They have an 11-game lead over the second place Bucks, so they've already clinched the number 1 seed in the East.
Oh yeah, and I think they could. You know, that is a part of it. You know, they kind of you know,
they just taking a foot off a little bit.
Yeah, meddling it in a little bit here on the end.
Yeah, taking the foot off a little bit.
But,
you have more players.
The problem with playing with that faucet, you know, when you shut it on and off, you know, sometimes it gets stuck off. So, you know, you got to be on at all times.
So speaking of playoffs and switch being shut on and off, with 2 weeks left in the season, how do you see let's go with the East. How do you see the East playing out? Right now, Boston, like I said, is in first. They have the number 1 seed locked in. The Milwaukee Bucks are at 11 games back, but more importantly, they're only a game and a half up on Cleveland, who has the 3rd seed. 2 games up on my Knicks, who have the 4th seed. Orlando is 4 games back, and the Pacers are 5 games back. Orlando and the Pacers, I don't see them gaining 5 games with only 9 left to play. But those are the top 6 seeds. And 7, you have the Miami Heat, who has the ability to catch either Orlando or Indianapolis. And then you have the Sixers, who are 2.5 games back at that 6th spot. And then Chicago and Atlanta, they're pretty much out. They're in the play-in no matter what. There's really, unless Atlanta go on a 9-game losing streak, I don't see the Brooklyn Nets overtaking them for that 10th spot. So the 10 teams are pretty much set, just the order. So do you see any of those 7, 8, 9 teams, Miami, Philly, Chicago, Atlanta, moving up to get either that 5th or 6th seed from Indiana and Orlando?
Actually, no, I don't. I think that the only switch I see it happening, I think New York will supplant Cleveland in the 3rd spot, and I think Atlanta is going to take the 9th, and Chicago will finish 10th. But other than that, I think everything is pretty much rock solid the way it is.
Oh, here we go with this Charlie horse again. Oh, that's the B1.
What's wrong with your legs, man? I know you ain't been running.
We ain't gonna have it. I've been in my knee, man. Been in my leg too much. All right, there you go. It went away. All right, we're gonna chill. Woo. In the I'm with you. My Knicks will get the 3rd seed. We're gonna get the 3rd seed. Even though we had a bad loss last night. We had lost last night against
shout out to Brunson, 61.
Yeah, but we Wembanyama had 40 and 20. He was killing us. And he's gonna be a beast next year, man. San Antonio is gonna be much improved next year, especially with all the money they have for free agency and the draft picks they have. Yeah, they're gonna be much improved. I can't see Pop coming back to the same type of team. He want to win. And so the Chicago Atlanta thing, Atlanta's only a game back in Chicago, and what they're playing for is home court. So whoever wins, whoever has the 9th spot gets the home game. So what they're playing for. I'm nervous about Miami, man. Again, you can never count out Miami.
Oh yeah.
So they do have a chance to catch up with Indiana or Orlando, but it's still gonna be a little difficult. Now over in the West, this is where all the excitement is. You got basically three players for that first spot: Minnesota, or Oklahoma City, and Denver. They're only Minnesota and Oklahoma is tied. Denver is a half game back of them after losing last night to Minnesota. So you have a battle for that 1, 2, 3 spot. You have a battle for 4, 5, and 6. You have the Clippers, who are a game up on New Orleans, and New Orleans is a game up on Dallas. They're gonna be fighting for that 4, 5, and 6. I think they're gonna be jockeying to make sure that neither one of them in sixth space to get that Denver matchup. That's gonna be the key. And then the biggest disappointment in NBA, the Phoenix Suns. They're a game and a half back of Dallas in 7th. Sacramento is only a half a game back of them for 8th place. So 7, 8 play each other in the play-in, 9, 10 play each other in the play-in. So they're fighting for that. And then you got the Lakers, who are a game and a half back in 8. And you have Golden State, who are a game and a half back for the Lakers for 9th in 10th place. But you have Houston, who's a game back of Golden State on an 11-game win streak.
Houston's a comeback.
As we said a minute ago, we think Houston will supplant Golden State. Golden State will not make the playoffs this year. And then the Lakers watch out for that Houston team, because Houston has what the Lakers can't deal with, and that size. They have size all over. And they got, like I said, Jalen Green, who's playing like Kobe these last couple of months. So in the West, dudes, what do you foresee? First off, who do you see getting the number 1 seed? And then what do you look forecasting that play game?
I think Denver's going to get it. I mean, Minnesota's playing great or whatever, but for some reason I just feel like Denver's going to go ahead and pull that out. And then, of course, it'll be Denver, Minnesota, then OKC. Dallas is pretty hot. I think Dallas could possibly supplant New Orleans.
Oh, you think so? Yeah, Dallas has been balling. I think what are they?
They're on a hot streak, and you want to be hot this time of year.
9-1 in the last 10 games. They won 6 straight. Yeah, they've been balling.
So they're on a nice hot streak. So,
the team that has been falling is the Clippers.
Yeah. So hey, I mean, looking at it, hey, Clippers could be got as well.
Clippers might be down 6.
Exactly. So they could go down to 6. I mean, with that talent, I don't think they could slip. I don't think they'll slip any further.
But as bad as it sounds, man, they got to get Westbrook back, man. Westbrook has to come back.
Yeah, he's back.
Is he back?
Yeah, he came back Monday.
Oh, I missed it.
So, yeah.
I missed that.
So I think they won one and lost one.
Okay.
But he's back.
Okay. But it's all making up for a very interesting next couple of weeks. You know, you and I, we probably the biggest NBA fans. We love this time of year, especially with my Knicks playing the way they are. Man, we got Mitchell Robinson back. We still got to get OG back. If we get OG back, we in the finals guaranteed. The Eastern Conference Finals guaranteed. If we get Randall back also, your boys better watch their butts, man. Because we coming.
Our butts coming. Okay. No didn't.
We coming, man. Especially if we get that 3rd seed and have to play the Bucks in the 2nd round and play y'all in the finals. Oh yeah, it's that time, man. It's that time. We coming for y'all.
We're gonna slap you guys pretty bad.
We coming for you, man.
It has to be this way, Rod. It has to be this way.
No. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for sticking with us through this wonderful episode we've just had. And it's wonderful because, we was here doing it.
Right.
But as always, we need you to go ahead and press that like button, press that subscribe button, press that follow button. Y'all send dudes the money. What y'all waiting on?
Send me the money.
And we'll be back at it again bright and early next week.
Are we coming back?
Giving y'all all of our takes The good ones and the bad ones. You know, the bad ones just left a minute ago. He didn't want to do all the bad ones. But we're going to have them for you anyway. So on behalf of DOOZE, on behalf of D Almighty, the Wonder Mouse, who left us already, I'm Rod D. We hope you liked what we had to say, that you enjoyed all of the points that we made. However, if you didn't, kiss it. And guess what, y'all? Yeah.
Don't blame it on sunshine. Don't blame it on moonlight. Don't blame it on good times. Blame it on the boogie. Don't blame it on sunshine. Sunshine. Moonlight. Moonlight. Boogie's got me in a super trance. Sunshine. Moonlight. Yeah. Good times. Boogie. You just got that sunshine, yeah, moonlight, good times,
To everybody in East Boogie, to all my peeps here in Lawton, and back on to the illy and everywhere. Let's do it, y'all. Whether evading the smoke or debating with folk, they creating the quotes that's making us woke. When the sports world is sleepy on the daily or the weekly, get it, Mouse One, Rod D, Kid, Deuce, and Geechee. From hardwood to diamond, QD to rhyming, on the up or declining, and all out shining, even on the ice grinding. A world record timing when the athlete or team moment really is defining. If the stats deal or facts on deals, these cats chat real about the track and field. Plus the ring can prove all chords and courses, from unsigned players to stars with endorsements. Who wanna got deep? Teams that stop streets, who get in the dirt and who own the hot seat for the movies and the oldies. Yo, they got the goodies, wanna know what's going on, rock will blame it on the boogie. Yep, 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 blame it on the boogie. Click that link and subscribe. That's what it is. God bless. Love.